Okay. Yep, go live.
I'm live.
Serious?
Yeah, totally serious.
You didn't have to select your music?
I already music's playing, man. Don't you worry about me.
Alright, so... Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah. Intima ZVX was Stoic, episode 19, game 2 of ZvP week. We were only doing ZvP week because we got so many views on the ZvP last week, so yeah. Seems like you guys are having trouble ZvP, so... We are here to serve. David, anything you want to add to that little opener?
He's Stoic Nubo.
And he is Stoic Regret. You gotta quit smoking, man. You're in med school, you should know that.
Don't smoke. Okay.
This is a game on Metalopolis versus iMpBails.
Oh yeah, someone was asking about gateway, like weird expand builds where they build gateway first into the Nexus. Now,
Yep. Before you start talking about it, let me fade out the music for you guys so you can hear exactly what he's saying.
music's not too loud though, right? So
Never,
I'm sure they. Yeah. Okay, so basically, if you open 1414, if a person goes gateway with no gas into Nexus first, it's extremely good for his tech because obviously he doesn't have to build a cannon, and doesn't really have to be defensive. He can actually be offensive while expanding into a Nexus. And the Forge is the same cost as a gateway also, so it's pretty much the same thing as a gateway, as a cannon expand, but just better for Protoss. You don't see it too often because if the Zerg opens 1414, it basically is a free win. You just run into his base with speedlings and he dies.
And Zerg's still open 1414. I think Protoss mixed this in once in a while just to throw opponents off.
And this is actually a really good map to showcase this on because I don't know what he's doing until I already put down my third. And it is Metalopolis, so the rush distance between his base and my third base is actually really, really close compared to some of the newer maps. So yeah, we're just gonna.
I'm gonna fade in here.
These are all GM players, so they do have specific builds that they're trying out.
Oh, Bale's got GM now?
Yeah.
Good for him. That's 2 from the IMP clan.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get into her. 3,
Yep.
2, 1, play.
All right. So everything at the start of the game is going to be pretty standard, obviously, because I'm going to assume he's opening Forge. Even on Metalopolis, I mean, I'm not gonna. Never mind. Scrap that point.
What about Metalopolis, David?
No, it's just... I was going to say that Metalopolis, some people don't feel comfortable cannon expanding on this map because of the... You know what I'm going to say.
It's
just,
cowards.
let's stop there.
You can say
Stop
it.
him.
Pussies don't expand on Metalopolis.
Jeez. Technically, this is an expand build, though.
Let's get Bales in this call and call him out.
He's actually streaming right now.
We bring him in the call and we say, Bales, stop ruining esports.
No, Tails is running esports.
Yeah, but so's Bales now because he won't cannon expand on Metalopolis.
It's a horrible reason. Tails is running esports, guys. That should be my new slogan line. I'm just gonna keep saying that.
Yeah, David hates Tails, and he is
Tails
of
is
course
really-
talking about
the guy who actually looks like Tails from Sonic, actually.
yeah. Wait, what team is he on? Jesus, I'm drawing a blank here.
MVP.
MVP Tails, yeah. Jesus Christ.
I hope DRG kicks him off the team. If I was DRG, I would go to my coach and say, Tails is running esports. We need to
Zerg him into oblivion.
Zerg.
Imagine if you said that and DRG was like, yeah, hey, yeah, Tails, you're out.
I would be happy.
He's ruining esports. No regret, just love. He knows your other name. Your name in Warcraft 3 was No Regret, right?
Yeah, I am not No Regret, though. He's a cheesy faggot. Everybody knows that. I'm not him.
Oh, you didn't have to call him a faggot.
He actually is a faggot, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's in Grandmaster too. His
Problem
name,
solved!
His name is, yeah, No Regret Grandmaster.
Okay, we're not
Zerg.
DMing people on this. Enough. Okay, so let's stop.
I don't give a shit about BMing people. I'll BM whoever the fuck I want. By the way, if you guys run into me on the ladder, you're probably getting BM'd. I'm not going to apologize for it either.
But it's for good reason, though. It's because Shawn will probably lose to you.
Yeah, probably. I've been winning a lot lately.
But you still BM people when you win.
Even when I win, I BM people. Fuck it. They don't deserve
But he doesn't BM people when he wins. He just gets infuriated.
Yeah, I get more mad when I win than when I lose.
He'll win and say something like, I shouldn't have won that game.
Fucking idiot. Oh, and now you know. Are you still going to take that third?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he got the Nexus down. Okay, this is a little different than what these guys were saying.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that pylon. So what you want to do is take your gas right away, right here.
If you guys
And
want
then
to,
just go over.
I think they were talking about. Hang on, before you talk about this, I think they were talking about gateway openings where they don't expand like that. Just gateway.
Yeah, but
Cybercorp.
that's what I was gonna say.
That's
We're
old.
not gonna bother doing that because that's just cheese. And if you want to know how to beat cheese, it's pretty much spine crawlers.
If you want a rule of thumb when they're doing that, get up there, see what their first unit out is. If it's a stalker, if they do not move down their ramp before 6 minutes and build a pylon, and even if
It's
they
either
do,
sideways
you got to
or
count sentries. If you're seeing sentries, they're not teching. If you're not seeing sentries, you're seeing zealots. It's going to be either DTs or void rays. Either way, a spore counters both. Just don't take your third and get a spore after this. Drop your Evo chamber at 6 minutes, no later.
Okay, so here I do see him take 2 gateways here. Now, it doesn't matter whether he has 4 gateways or 3 gateways. It's the same thing here. He has to use them because he invested in them. And it's extremely telling here also because he's also sending out units. So you don't have to have a huge drone count because as you can see, I'm 29 drones at 28. So don't look at the drone count this game because it will throw you off. This is old school style when people didn't forge fast expand. You don't have to have a drone lead until later. Because with Forge, everybody knows that drone kind of deficit comes at about 40 drones, 40 probes, and then you overtake them. But in this case, I am ahead of base, and he is doing an aggressive build because I saw those 2 gateways there. So as long as I clean up the push, I'm okay. And you're going to see how that kind of turns out.
You don't have time to get roaches out here,
Yeah,
do you?
absolutely no time to get roaches, but that is the key that a lot of people kind of miss. I see a ton of pro Zergs do that. Like, Curious actually played Oz in GSL once, and Oz did a bunch of double gateway openings and gateway openings like this. And Curious tried to go into roaches, and it's horrible because every roach you build basically fucks up your tech extremely badly. So even if you might cost efficiently trade, trading off like this, as you can see, it's not cost efficient for me at all, but I have no gas deposit, so I'm okay to tech after this. So definitely I would say counter it with lings. This is the better option. I've learned this from Lucera and ST. Watching them play a lot of weird cheeses like this, they never opt to put that roach warren down until they build like 50 lings, and I just think it's so much better.
And now you're back to drones already.
Yeah, so as you can see, the push was... okay, so I analyzed this a few times because I do have a friend who does this build from time to time, and I don't think you should try to cut the lings and minimally counter this. And we're about to see why, because I've actually played against this quite a few times, and I will tell you for a fact that whenever you hold off a push like this, your lings will always do something after. You know what I mean? They will never actually be useless. Because think about what he actually can invest into after this. If he invests into so many sentries and so many units that the lings do 0 damage, he is literally telling you, I am going to continue to gateway all in you. But if he techs into something like he is now, look at that. 3 sentries, absolutely not a threat. So this overproduction of lings gives me full map control for like the next 3-4 minutes. And I think that's just ridiculously good. So as you can see, I've already catched up in drones, and now I'm going to break 50, and he's at 46. And I was able even to kill a gas there. I mean, like, if this wasn't Metalopolis, I might have been able to even snipe another more important building. I might even been able to kill a sentry or something.
Do you want to sync up?
Yeah, what are you at? 35,
Keep counting.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43.
We're good.
44. Okay, so I am going to be transitioning into a normal game, but because I know for a fact after doing that attack that there's no way he can attack me, there's no reason for me to build roaches. So this is exactly what we were talking about last VOD. Please go over last VOD so I don't have to repeat it. Basically saying, just because I went the tech path to go roaches, it doesn't mean I have to go roaches right now. Because the beauty about Zerg is once I hit that benchmark of drones, I can just sit and wait. Me building 3 roaches now, 10 roaches later, and then another 10 roaches later will still lead to me having 33 roaches, 30 seconds from now. Even if I just sat there and built nothing until 33 seconds and then built 33 roaches, then it would be the same thing because larva doesn't disappear. So very key here. As you can see, I have 65 drones. I am setting up to go roaches. I have the roach warren down. I have the roach upgrade down, but I have nothing built. Why? Because I have no need to build anything. So a little bit of pressure here. I'm going to build 12 roaches here because I'm scared that he's going to use the warp prison to warp in an additional few units, and that's exactly what he does. And the reason why it's kind of scary is I don't know how many gateways he has. So if I don't build these roaches and he warped in, you know, 7 more zealots, that would actually probably kill my hatch. So definitely something that I was forced to do at this point. As you can see, right after I realized this is not going to do anything, I go back into drone production, but I'm at a very comfortable drone lead right now.
Yeah, you're 64 to 59. He's got too many probes, I think. He's
definitely gearing to expansion. Yeah, he's definitely gearing up to expand. So I do see that with my zergling up top there. So the first thing I'm going to do now is set up for the late game, because I know that I've basically been tricked into building those roaches for no reason. So
he got you.
Yeah, he basically did that as a transition, you know, like an aggressive transition drop into his third base, and now he probably will have good position. So it's very impractical for me to just max on roach right now. So as you can see, I'm going to take my additional gases and take my fourth base as soon as I can, and use these roaches that I've already built to see if I can scare him into overproducing cannons or overproducing units. So I'm just going to go up here. I see obviously he is in good position. There's no way I can actually fend that off. But that's okay because I have a lot of gases and an additional base going up. So I can neatly transition here into more gas heavy tech. And I do love going Mutalisks, so I probably will be going Mutalisks this game.
A lot of people like going Broodlords. Oh, you sniped that.
Yeah, a lot of people do like Infestors. You gotta be very careful though, because his army is very strong right now.
Yeah, you can lose everything, and that's basically lose a game, right?
Yeah. So I'm just doing as much damage as I can, forcing force fields, sniping tech. It does scare him off a little bit because he does have to rebuild it. See how he had to rebuild that immortal just in case, because if I continue to pressure him, he does need to refill that. So, you know, that pressure forced him to build an extra immortal, and that's really, really good. And now I do notice that this attack is not going to work to deny the third, so I am going to gear up now to transition. And one thing I do notice here, this is actually a very quick decision that I make, and I do this from time to time. You notice how I was about to produce drones there, but then I remembered, I said, wait a minute. I looked at his army. There were no Colossus, and he was still producing immortals because I saw that immortal come down from his main base. Remember that immortal that I tried to pick off?
Yep.
So basically what this is telling me is he is not going to be on Colossus deck. So I'm going to use this opportunity to do something a little bit cheesy. I call it cheesy because it's a risk. Anything risky, I call it cheesy. And the risk is if he doesn't see how the Colossus tech is not even done yet. So now I'm going to produce 40 lings and just attack. And what this will allow me to do is basically destroy his army so badly that when I do the Muta transition, there's no way he's going to have enough stalkers to stop me. So you see how I'm basically baiting him into it. I'm saying, hey, look, I'm continuing to attack me, and he's, you know, going on his way. He has no way of scouting this, going into Colossus deck, and all of a sudden, you know, I have 67 lings, and I'm just gonna run into his army.
So you're really not looking to multi-prong here. You want to kill his army.
Yeah, I want to kill the army so that my Mutalisks will be super strong, and this is the perfect time. Basically, the only reason I make this decision is because I saw that immortal come down from his main base, and as you can see, it was the perfect unit choice. And now the Colossus pops, but it's already too late. The damage has been done, and now you're gonna see my Muta transition becomes oh so powerful because he basically will never have enough units to deal with the Mutalisk harass, and that basically means it's impossible for him to take a fourth base. So.
Oh man, did you see that blink? Fucker blinked away and he didn't even take any damage.
Yeah, so as you can see, these 11 mutas, if he had the army that he had before, would probably not do that much damage, but now 11 mutas actually is difficult for him to handle because he only has 12 stalkers. So he's actually going to have his whole army of stalkers to where these Mutalisks attack.
And you contaminated the Colossus on top of that. That's pretty awesome.
Yep. So basically this is just going to come down to APM. Just a lot of APM. Attacking multi-prong locations, ensuring that he can never take a fourth base until he either fucks up and you kill his army because it's out of position, or he gets annoyed and decides to base race you. So as you can see, very hard. You see how, because of that reduction in stalker count, he cannot be in two places at once. He has to actually send his whole army here to deal with these. See how the warp-in doesn't do anything because he doesn't have enough units, so he actually has to wait for his units to arrive, which is so huge because now I can wrap around and attack the other location with my units.
Wow.
Yep.
I can just imagine the fury of the Protoss here.
Yep.
I think he canceled his thermal lance smartly.
Yeah, he does realize that he needs to survive at this point. Actually, no, he didn't cancel it. It's just because it was unpowered, so...
Oh, so it doesn't show up in the production tab?
No, and even if you kill it with it being produced, you get the minerals back. So, see how you get him out of position, he just falls apart. So, very sloppy by him, losing 2 Colossus. But not really much you can do, actually. I wouldn't really critique him on that. At this point, like I said, once I did that huge Ling switch, it was very difficult for him to transition out of. So, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that all the time. You have to be sure. If he was a little bit smarter with that immortal and microed it back so I didn't see it, I probably wouldn't have done that. But basically, he told me that not only does he have 3 immortals out, but he was making a 4th. So there's no way he would have had Colossus Tech at that time. So that huge Ling switch was actually ideal in that situation. So
you don't need to be. You don't even need to be thinking about tier 3 here, do you?
No, not at this point.
This game's over. But I mean, once you started to do that Mutalisk switch, that's kind of
definitely. You see how I'm on 5 bases now? That's 10 Vespene guys. You definitely can just transition into whatever.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the key to this strat, as we mentioned in the previous VOD. Get your gases up. You need them so badly. And yeah, there's really not much you can do at this point, unfortunately for him.
So mutants are still good.
Too much damage. So, yeah, I'm just going to clean this up just to solidify my win so he can't morph in anything. I know that he's not on DT tech because I scouted his entire base. So basically, I know for sure that I'm going to win with this attack. Not because my army is better, per se, but it's just because of sheer numbers. I'm at 200 supply, he is 96. There's absolutely nothing you can do. So, and I did kill the Colossus tech, which makes it even worse because it basically makes my Banelings a direct counter to his units because I have so many. So,
and he's not going to be
position right now.
Unless he gets sentries. What happened to your Banelings? Did you cancel Baneling speed?
Nope,
oh,
it
no,
finished.
you haven't. I was going to say.
So, this is really good. I'm just attacking there because I wanted to know where his units were, and even if they weren't there, I would be able to pull them there. And this will allow me to get into a beautiful position going into his 3rd base. But really, like we said, there's not much he can do at this point.
Oh, wow. He doesn't have any sentries. If he had sentries, he might have a chance, but...
Yeah, and that's pretty much game.
Interesting. That was very informative, David. Very informative indeed. Are we ready to go right into the next game?
Oh, should we answer one question?
Yeah, well, let's go to that big question there on the 2nd page. Well...
Oh, one guy said David Trent is hot. I guess I could answer that by saying I am, so...
And I would have to go ahead and disagree. Frunkus said this should be in the strategy section. No, it shouldn't.
That's the craziest thing you've ever said.
That's not a question. We put it in the strategy section and Team Liquid closed it, so there you go. Cannon rushing, we'll try to do a VOD on that.
Pylon blocking on ladder maps. I'm sorry to answer this so bluntly, but I really don't care because
that's what I was trying to say.
If people want to build 3 pylons on a ladder map because there's no supply depot there, I just give them the win. I really don't give a shit. But then again, I'm weird. If people pause the game, I leave the game too because I don't want to wait for them.
Yeah.
So if you really want to play out of it, the best thing to do is obviously to get a 2nd queen up as soon as possible and use the 1st queen to spread creep with that creep tumor as soon as possible so you can get out a spine crawler. Ideally, you want to sneak out a drone so that you can build a base elsewhere. And by elsewhere, I mean like a really fucking weird location. So if this was Tal'Darim, I would build it on the other side of the map or something. And transition into tier 2 strategies with a 3rd base location out of reach, which is excellent for Mutalisk play, actually. 2-base Mutalisk with an expansion across map is very hard for Protoss to deal with on big maps because they can't actually attack your 3rd base. That's way out of whack location-wise because you can just counterattack. And when you go Mutalisks, your bases don't have to be close to each other because you're basically going to expand everywhere anyways. So the further they are from each other, the better. Because Mutalisks are very good at stopping harassment in multiple locations because you can just fly there and clean up the zealots. And it forces him to be in weird locations so that you can counterattack him. So definitely 2-base play. And as long as you put down a creep tumor as soon as possible, you will be able to get a spine crawler out there to kill it on all maps. So
Joshy0808 asks some Zerg questions. You know what? Next week's probably going to be ZVZ week, so why don't we just leave that for now?
Yeah, we could do ZVZ week.
Okay, because we've
or maybe
ZVZ
just a mixture of everything.
Or ZVZ.
Is that all he asked? Just
It's
ZVZ
all
questions?
ZVZ questions. So we'll
Okay.
just let's go right into the next VOD.
Or you could just message us. You can just PM Shawn specifically, and
Yeah.
we can answer them like that. Okay.
Okay.